This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, real MVPs? What's up, MVP nerds? Welcome in to the Rick and Johnny podcast. My name is Ricky Widmer, alongside fellow Manchild, Johnny Karlic. Are you happy I didn't put the Johnny Karlic on it? Because I couldn't tell if it was like last week after watching the podcast, which I'll get into that in a second because you may be watching going, Ricky, there was no podcast last week. I was watching it going, okay, I can't tell if Johnny's actually annoyed or if it's that jokingly annoyed, you know what I'm talking about? Uh-huh. And I assumed it was actually annoyed that I was saying Johnny Karlic.
I kind of don't like it.
So I stopped.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Like a good neighbor, Ricky Widmer's always there. If I'm actually your neighbor, which for you guys, I guess internet, would we be internet neighbors to anyone?
Maybe. Does
that count? If you see our video next to someone else's, are we their YouTube neighbor? Is that what we are?
Sort of. It's kind of weird how, I'm not sure how to put the neighboring thing with that.
We're like the Monster Inc. doors. We're constantly moving and we're next to different doors all the time. But we got a jam-packed show. If you're new to the Rick and Johnny podcast, we talk about everything under the two nerdy suns: movie, TV, Marvel, DC, gaming, because we don't do too old to game anymore, Star Wars, which is a big one, everything basically. So we got a jam-packed show, episode 181. We have now made it almost over the 200 hill. We're climbing up to 200, and we're getting there each and every week. Before we get into everything on the podcast for today, if you want to support us, because Sam is going to be joining us later in the podcast to talk Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, whatever order they put it in the title. He wants to talk about that. If you want to come on a podcast like Sam, patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast is how you do that. And if you don't want to come on a podcast, but you want to suggest a topic, you can do that as well. That link is down below in the description. But Johnny, let's go ahead and get into this one. And this one's an interesting topic list because usually I would come in, I would see how many things I have on our spreadsheet, and I would say, this week on the show, 6 topics or 6 stories. But this time it's there may be 6, there may be 7, there may only be 4, because there's 3 that we have to hit. The other 3 is just bonus if we can get to them. And the first thing we're going to start the show off with was the Game Awards. They happened on Thursday. And there were a couple announced, with the Game Awards this year, I didn't care about who won any of the awards because Game of the Year was kind of weak in my mind. And just the other awards, it was nice to get woo, yeah, Control won a lot, or Control won, Disco Elysium won a lot of awards. But I was there for the announcements, Johnny. I was watching it on our Twitch, twitch.tv/mostvaluablepodcast, because I wanted to see the announcements. And the first thing that they come out of the gates with, Johnny, first announcement on the actual show for the Game Awards is Xbox. Phil Spencer comes out, he previews it a little bit, and we now get our first look at what is being called the Xbox X Series, which this is the official title of what their next-gen system will be. So this will be the Xbox system going up against the PlayStation 5. And then not even 2 seconds after that, we get a trailer for, now the first game was Hellblade 1, obviously, but we get a trailer for Hellblade 2, where apparently Xbox took the developers that made Hellblade, said, hey, we're going to kind of give you money to be an Xbox exclusive. And we got an exclusive for Hellblade 2, is going to be the first exclusive on Xbox X Series. Here's the question I want to ask you about this off the gate, because I want to get to the Hellblade and how it looks in the trailer in a second, but more so with Xbox coming on, with them announcing this way. And for now us, this is the first time we're seeing anything from Gen 5, an actual system, how the system will look, or what we're hoping it looks like. I've seen jokes where it's like, yeah, in the trailer it looks really good, but if you don't have a 4K TV or we don't get to 8K TVs, it's going to look like a potato until then. What do you think? Is this the best strategy for Xbox to basically say, we're going to beat PlayStation to the punch? We're going to get our system out there. You know what it looks like. This is what it's going to be before we have any, like, we know some things. We talked about the controller for PlayStation 5, but we haven't seen an actual system for PS5. Now we have one for Xbox. Is this the right strategy to win the next console war?
I mean, gets people to already get hyped about it. Like you said, there was nothing out there for what a PS5 looks like right now.
So we've got the patent, and like we've got an idea of what it may look like, but we don't have anything from PlayStation saying like, "Hey, this is our PlayStation 5 trailer." And this is exactly what the PlayStation 5 is going to be. We're all speculating on what it could be based off of these like patent designs. Do they really end up looking like they do in the patent design? No, they test things out and they change things. So, I mean, Xbox to me taking a big swing here. And especially with the Game Awards being like, hey, we're just going to start the show off with this. I was almost confused watching the trailer because I was like, all right, is this a system that they're doing at the end of Gen 4? Is this one that they're doing in Gen 5? They later said that, yes, it is Gen 5. But, I mean, the thing that I love about it, and me being a Sony pony till the day I die, I will always be a PlayStation Sony pony. Watching the Hellblade trailer, how fucking crisp it looks. Like, looking at, it was the part of the trailer where it showed up like close on her face, and she was doing the like the war. I describe it as like war chants. The definition in like her gums and her teeth. I'm looking at it and I'm going, Johnny, it looks like I'm watching a fucking movie. It doesn't look like I'm watching a game. It looks like I'm literally watching a person on my screen. And is this what should we expect this from the next gen right away? Or is this just hey, it looks good. We want it to look good in trailers, but it's not going to exactly look like that when you get the system home. No,
I can see it. I can imagine it looking like that, at least like for their cinematic scenes. And that's what I'm guessing a lot of this is based off their cinematic scenes.
The gameplay might not be exactly the same.
Yeah, the gameplay is never the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what games are getting to nowadays. They look so realistic. All these backgrounds are almost like they just went to National Geographic to say, hey, can we just borrow this footage?
Yeah.
And no, this all looks like almost like someone was just in it. They hired people. This looks all like movie sets right now. And that's the cool part about games nowadays, and that's what it is. But obviously, you need the technology in order to make it look like that. It's not going to look good if you don't have a 4K or 8K TV. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Just like what is it? When you didn't have a 4K TV for the PS4 or the newer Xbox system, it didn't look as good, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not, you can't blame the system. Like, hey, we made it. Yeah, you can still play it on your older TV. Just not going to look as good. Can't blame us for that, and you can't blame them for that.
No, you can't. And the other thing
that's just how it is.
The other thing they're kind of playing with too is, and I've heard different gaming podcasts bring this up, is that all these like Sony, Nintendo, Xbox for the next gen, really Nintendo I put to the side because they kind of, it's really like Xbox and Sony fight it out for who's the best console. And then Nintendo just sits over here, and they're like, we've got our own little world. Like, we got the Pokemon fans.
Nintendo does
like,
have their own little world.
We'll just come out with a Switch, and the Switch is our system. Like, we don't need to come out with a new one every couple years like you guys do. We're doing fine here.
They're not in the competition.
Exactly.
They're just there to be there. People are gonna buy the Nintendo because they like because of Mario, because of Pokemon, because of
Link.
Because they're gonna buy it for the characters, but they're gonna buy it because they like those Nintendo games specifically. It's like it's a lot of times I notice it's either your Xbox or your PS4, or your Xbox or your PlayStation. And anyone could be Nintendo.
Yeah, Animal Crossing 2 is a big Nintendo property. Like, we talk about exclusives for Xbox and PlayStation. Nintendo Switch is like, except for like Overwatch and Diablo and maybe like any of the sports games that go over there. Really, like Mario, you're only getting on Nintendo. Pokemon, you're only getting on Nintendo. Link, you're only getting on Nintendo. Like, maybe they have the best exclusives out of the gaming world.
No, they have. It's not necessarily the exclusive. They have exclusive characters.
Yes, they have IP properties. However, for PlayStation 5, they were not absent from the Game Awards. As the next thing on our sheet that I wanted to talk about, Johnny, is the flip side. We didn't get what the PS5 is going to look like. We didn't get any of that. We got a awesome trailer that I am so hyped for this game. It looks like a game that I am going to be all over when I get my PlayStation 5 when it comes out a year from where we are sitting right now. It's a game called Godfall. And at first I'm looking at it like, what kind of a game is this going to be? And when the part where I just got in the trailer where she has like the sword and they stand up, I was thinking like, oh shit, we're getting a Soul Calibur game. I'm like, we're getting an epic Soul Calibur game. I was dead wrong. It's called Godfall. It's from the creators of, so Gearbox Studios, they're famous for obviously Borderlands and kind of redefining the looter shooter, where their latest Borderlands game, it was like, how many guns could you get? Guns upon guns upon guns, and you're never going to get a repeat in the loot because we've got so many different combinations for guns in this game. This one is going to be like that. It's the way they described it is it's going to be a looter slasher. And I know what some people are thinking. Dave may be out there. Hey, Ricky, just fucking play Diablo because Diablo's a looter slasher. But what are your thoughts with this trailer? I'm all for it. I fucking love Borderlands. This looks fucking awesome as hell. What is your thought with Godfall and kind of this being the first exclusive that we get for the PS5 that we get to see?
I mean, it looks like a good game. There's not a lot given to you about like any
story or
storyline. It's the same with what was the name
Hellblade.
of it? Hellblade. There's not a lot to the storyline other than who it's based. I guess what character it's based off of. You might get it. I've never played Hellblade 1, so you might get it more if you played it.
Hellblade 1 was one
I never
that
played it, so
we've talked about it before. Hellblade 1 was the game where the thing we talked about it was its death mechanic, where it kind of had a Dark Souls kind of death mechanic where once you die, boom, like you lose everything and you're kind of done. That's Dark Souls. In this case, it was more of like once you're dead. You got to start all the way from the beginning. Like that's what we were talking about with Hellblade, and kind of is that too much of an extreme for video games?
Don't play it
then. Hellblade 1 was a game where I'm like, oh, I got to go over and pick it up. I'll be honest, if this is an like this is the only generation where obviously I'm going to buy PlayStation first. Like I've said, no shame. I'm a Sony pony. That's just how it is.
So it sounds like you're insulting yourself.
Well, it kind of does, but like that's what we call each other.
I'm just saying. It sounds like you're insulting yourself.
It's more of like a humble shaming, where it's like I know that I'm a shrill to the PlayStation product. They slap a PlayStation logo on that sumbitch, and I'm gonna buy it. But this is the first time where I'm kind of thinking, all right, after I get the PlayStation 5 and I get my funds back to a reasonable standing, because that's going to tank my bank account getting that PlayStation 5, do I dive in and get an Xbox X Series this year? Because, I mean, I almost, for Gears 5, bought a Xbox, what is it, 3? Is it the Xbox One? Yeah, it's the Xbox One. 360 was the PlayStation 3 equivalent. I almost bought an Xbox One just to play Gears of War. Oh, wow. But then I decided, well, we're at the end of a console generation. Yeah. How much am I going to get out of this Xbox One? I mean, I could get done Game Pass, Microsoft Game Pass.
Yeah, that's true.
Which they did, by the way, if you do have Microsoft Game Pass, the night of the Game Awards, which was Thursday, they put Hellblade 1 on Game Pass.
Oh, really?
So it was one of those where it's like, hey, you're excited for number 2 coming to our X series. Oh, by the way, you haven't played Hellblade 1? If you got Game Pass, you can play it right
Hellblade
now.
1. Nice.
So, I mean, they're killing it with that. Like, they're doing the right things with it, so I guess I could have used that. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe I wait until 5 and I get both an Xbox and a PlayStation. Let's go around.
Now, what if PlayStation doesn't... What if the Xbox comes out before the PlayStation? Because it sounds like
I would wait.
they're already ready.
Yeah, I would
Seems
wait.
like, whereas PlayStation does not seem like they're quite ready yet.
Yeah, well, I would be shocked if they came, like, maybe a week or two, if anything. But, like...
You think it's only going to be, like, a very short time?
We know for sure that PlayStation 5 is coming next holiday season.
Yeah.
Like, both the Xbox and the...
They'll probably wait till then, too.
I don't think this was a, hey, let's get ready to sell it sooner. I think this was a, let's get our foot in the door. Let's get in front of PlayStation. Because the whole thing is, first off, I'll ask you, I mean, for us, do you even care about the console war? Because I know there's a lot of people that do. They're like, Sony ran away with it in the last generation, the 4 compared to the Xbox One. Mainly because of all the fucking exclusives that PlayStation had. Spider-Man, you can only play that on PlayStation. MLB The Show, not anymore. By 2021, it's going to be on Xbox and Switch as well. But up until this point, if you want to play some good old baseball, you got to go to PlayStation for that. Where now it looks like Xbox is getting those exclusives, with Hellblade 2 being the first one. They're taking in some of these dead studios and saying like, hey, come work for us. Be our exclusive. We'll give you money to make your game, but your game's only on our platform. And I mean, I think it's a great strategy because I think that the console war, if you downplay it, obviously these business people, they care. They want to be the top product. They want their product to sell the most. I'll ask you this, though. Do you think this is going to matter? Do you think this will be a defining moment where we say, man, if they didn't do this, they wouldn't be outselling PlayStation? Or do you think PlayStation is still going to outsell Xbox?
I think it's just whatever. I think it's going to come down to like probably a bunch of things. Exclusives. This isn't going to be the make or break of it.
Yeah. This was just getting into the people's minds before.
Yeah, exactly. They're not like Xbox or PlayStation put their thing out that they have it in development, and then Xbox is like, ours is basically ready.
Yeah.
But we're just going to, when we have it ready, we'll sell it to you guys. I mean, I love the jokes that are coming out. I also have to say, I admit, I do like the jokes coming out about the Xbox One.
Go ahead. My favorite is the one where it's the glass coffee, like the glass tabletop on top of it, and it says, oh, cool, it holds my PlayStation. Because it looks like the bottom of a glass table.
No, more like just how it's just this box shape. One of our friends goes, the Xbox X box.
The Xbox X box?
But no, just because of the very...
People making fun of it that it looks like a computer tower?
Yeah. Just the simplistic shape, which whatever, it's...
Well, I mean, when your brand is... when you have box in the title of your brand, why not make it a box?
Exactly. Look, that's the thing. Both systems are getting closer and closer to being...
Just computers.
To where, like, we're not far off anymore. It's just like they're exclusive computers.
Which I know Dave
That's all it is.
Dave is sitting there watching going, yes, this is why you should be playing on a computer, damn it, not a console.
Yeah.
Why do I have to play Call of Duty and Borderlands and Overwatch on a console when this is a big debate we got into? Dave, Jake, and I, where Jake and I are on one side, we're controller bros. Where we believe first-person shooters are better on controller. Dave's a mouse and keyboard jockey.
Yeah.
So he's always on that mouse and keyboard. I can't do it.
That's Mike and Drac too.
It's like how Dave feels using a controller, I feel with a mouse and keyboard. Like I can't coordinate my hands that way. They feel too independent on mouse and keyboard.
See,
on a controller, they feel together.
I'm getting better at the mouse and keyboard because I've been playing some other games now.
It got better.
Like I've been playing this game, 7 Days to Die with Ron.
Okay. Is that like a zombie game?
It's a zombie game, yeah. And the funny part is, like, I played it on this. This was awful because the graphics are shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'd walk, like, from me to you in comparison to the game, I'd have to walk like up to that distance just to see what something was.
Yeah, no, I was the same way with WoW, where I was playing on my my HP for a while, and I was like, oh man, the graphics aren't that good. And then I got my desktop that I have at home, and I just mentioned to Dave, I'm like, holy shit, this is different. He goes, yeah, he's like, I always questioned why you were playing it on a laptop.
It's the world of difference because I've been playing on Ron's gaming laptop when I go over there, and it's like
it's totally different.
I look
it's a
and
whole
go,
new world.
I can see things.
It's like that kid that doesn't have glasses, and then you give him glasses. He's like, oh my god, there's a world in here.
Holy shit!
Oh man, I didn't know I was standing in here. I gotta get out of here. But some other announcements.
Yes.
The one I just want to throw some love to, but I wasn't going to get into, Dark Alliance. That is, people are saying it's the Baldur's Gate Dark. So it's the Baldur's Gate successor, and it's a D&D game. So it's a D&D video game again.
Okay.
I hope that comes to PlayStation, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just was an Xbox exclusive. The other ones that I had down, there was also Will the Wisp. We got an extended trailer for that. That looks pretty cool. PS4 exclusive, the last one that we're getting this summer, Ghost of Tsushima. We got a kind of cinematic trailer for that. Looks kind of cool with the samurai swords and being a ninja and stuff like that. But the big ones I wanted to get into, how they ended the show, Johnny, was they had, what's her name? Michelle Rodriguez is, I think, the actress's name. She had her come out, and immediately I'm like, wait a second. She's from Fast and the Furious. And then she talks for a little bit, and she brings out the man himself, Vin Diesel. And then they announced that we are going to have a Fast and the Furious video game called Crossroads. Now, I'm just going to say this. I am pumped for this game.
Good.
This trailer looked like a best of when it came to my Fast and the Furious moments from the movies. Here's the big thing I wanted to start off with this one is, a lot of people are saying it doesn't look good, like graphics-wise. Like, the biggest joke I saw was like, yeah, it's cool that we are getting a Fast and the Furious game. Could we make it not look like it's from the year 2014? This is a game also that at the end of the trailer says that it's coming out in May of 2020. So the thing I want to ask you about this is, A, would you play it? Are you hyped for it? And B, would you be concerned about the graphics looking like they do? Mostly the character construction, because like the characters look like they're in a video game. It doesn't look like we were talking about with Hellblade.
Yeah.
But it definitely does look like this game. If you would have showed me this game with nothing, I'd be like, oh, they made a Fast and the Furious game in 2014? What do you think? Are you excited, and should we be concerned with the release date being May of this year?
I mean, the driving looks nice. I mean, it looks like a video game driving still. Honestly, it just kind of looks like... No, they're right. It looks like 2014. Looks like sort of the art style of... God, I can't think of it.
I thought Telltale games.
Telltale. It does look like Telltale.
Because I was thinking, remember the Guardians of the Galaxy game we kind of played before my laptop couldn't handle it? That's what I was getting vibes of. Like,
The Walking Dead, was it?
Exactly. The Walking Dead.
Not as comic bookish, but like sort of like that art style too.
Yeah, and I mean, that was one thing. At the time when I was watching it, I noticed it in my head. I just didn't want to say anything.
Is it a Telltale?
No, it's not.
Really? Because it looks like a Telltale.
It really. At first, I thought it was going to be a Telltale game. It is not a Telltale game. It is, let's see, do they have the developer at the end?
Where you make it.
They do. The developers on this one are Bandai, Slightly Mad Studios, Universal, and I think Titan. I can't read that last one. But it's going to be on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and obviously PC as well. I just can't wait to play Fast and the Furious. Like, it is kind of confused me how the movies have, let's see, the first movie for Fast and the Furious came out when? Fast and the Furious. came out in, let's see, 2001. And it's taken us 19 years to get a game. Well, 18 years technically to get just one game from this series. Like with the success of GTA, nobody said, hey, let's go ahead and make this a video game, see what that does. We'll see how it looks. I hope it's not bad because I love the Fast and the Furious and everything that those movies bring. And now to be able to play a GTA-like game with the Fast and the Furious characters, like, sign me up for it.
I'm going to probably pass on it because I was never a fan of the franchise in the first place. Also,
action movies, I feel like even the movies we watched, the action movies, like American Made even, I felt it was more of like, okay, like with the horror movies you're dragging me to.
Yeah.
I feel like the action movies was always, I'm dragging Johnny to these action movies.
I mean, yes and no. It depends on which ones. Because like American Made, I was not a huge fan of, but was it Death Wish?
Yes.
Looked good.
You weren't a fan of American Made? That was the Tom Cruise one.
Yeah.
With the cocaine.
I mean, I wasn't like from trailers. It didn't like intrigue me to go see it.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about because I was like afterwards. I thought we both enjoyed that movie.
No, it's more like, hey, would I have gone and seen it if someone didn't drag me to it? Absolutely not. This game was
like American Sniper. That was the one with Michael Keaton and
was that was it American Sniper? No, it wasn't.
American Assassin.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm thinking. American Sniper is the one with Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I was gonna say
American Assassin is the one with Michael Keaton.
That one would have been like a maybe, I don't know.
Michael Keaton would have drew you in.
No, it's more of the that one's like one of those maybe I'll go see it, maybe not. Whereas like American Made, I would have never gone and seen it on my own.
Okay, yeah,
but like this game is just I'm not a fan of the driving games. Never have been. Other than obviously like Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing. I had one racing.
Diddy Kong.
I had like one racing game for the PS2 that was kind of fun, but then it kind of fell out of it. Will I play it like an arcade? Yeah, maybe, because I like when you can actually like have the steering wheel there.
Yeah.
Those are the times I'll play the racing games now.
And that's what a lot of people were saying. A lot of people were like, oh man, if I can go ahead and play this with my wheel and my pedal, but then they're like, how is that going to work when I have to get out of the car? Do I have to like switch to a controller then? Because usually people that play racing games, they don't like playing them on their like mouse and keyboard. They don't like playing it on their controller. Like there are some that even go full out and have like I've seen where this guy had, it was like a setup where it looked like an actual like car, and he had two big ass fucking monitors that were just right in front of him.
Windshield, yeah.
Yeah, basically. And it's like, holy shit, people go all out for this. I'm gonna do two things. There are some things I want to give some honorable mentions to.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Remake looks dope. Can't wait to fucking play that. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I'm like this close to buying in on it. And buying in on it means like actually purchasing it. They announced a new DLC expansion 2 called Rise of the Phoenix, which basically all their X-Men characters are going to be in that. They showed off Cable. They showed off Jean Grey. They showed off Gambit. And then the other one I wanted to give a little bit of love to is Sons of the Forest. Looks interesting. It's a horror game, but it looks a little interesting. Even though the horror genre, I'm more of a watcher than I am a actual player. You mentioned Telltale, though. I'm going to skip around here. Telltale was at the Game Awards. I am so pumped for this. We are getting Wolf Among Us 2, which Mark and I played on the original MVP channel years ago. Cannot wait for this. It is apparently going to be in conjunction with DC. So you got DC Comics because it comes from Fable. I can't wait for it. I love the first one. I can't wait for the second one. It was a little small one. No More Heroes 3. I put 2. It's actually 3. This is an interesting one because watching the trailer, I still don't know what I haven't played 1 or 2. This is the first time I'm seeing this. I still don't know exactly what type of a game I'm getting from Nintendo. Because it just looks like, to me, an anime, like when I was watching, I'm like, oh, so I'm watching an anime. It looks fucking dope. I don't know if I'm gonna get it on the Switch, but it looked cool. And then the last one I wanted to ask you about is Humankind. So this is the way it's described on the Wikipedia page. Is it's a 4X game comparable to the Civilization series. Players lead their civilization across 6 major eras of human civilization, starting from the nomadic age, directing how the civilization should expand, develop cities, control military, and other types of units as they interact with others, civilizations through the virtual panel. Now, the thing in the trailer that they mentioned that I thought was kind of cool with this is this was all about your story. Basically, you're creating your king, your top of the civilization, and you're defining that, the civilization and you, any way you want. And I immediately thought of you, Johnny, because I thought you guys played Civ. I was confused. And it's Age of Empire. Yeah. Does a game like this intrigue you? And how much does it intrigue you?
It does, actually. So I do like the Civ building games. That's why we play Age
of Empire.
And thank you. I forgot the game I actually play. That's why we play Age of Empires, is because it's like a Civ game, but we get to fight each other. It's like it's got the elements of that, but it also gives us the chance to go head to head with each other. And so that's I'm actually kind of excited for this too, because it looks good. Some of the animations I kind of find weird at the moment because it's like, and I think it's more so just you can see where your group is going. Yeah. Because like you have the buildings a certain size, and all of a sudden the people are like almost the size of the building. So it's like, what's going on here?
You're talking about like kind of like even that City Tycoon where it's like, wow, there's no way that the people are the same size as these buildings. Yeah. It's just my perspective is where the camera is. I'm just looking top down, and they haven't made the building super tall.
Well, it's like way over here. It's like kind of panned on an angle, like not right above.
It's not eagle eye, but it's like eagle eye, and then hey, let's pull you.
Yeah, pull you back so we can actually see, like you can see what's going on. So what I think is actually the case is just like they're making them bigger, so you're not like trying to see someone like. Like they'd be like that tiny on the screen. Yeah, you guys can't see what I'm doing from way over here.
The audio listeners are like, what are you doing, John? Like he's making his fingers put together
like a millimeter. It's not like you're trying to look at something that's a millimeter away. They're showing the civilians, so it's like, hey, I can see what the hell's going on the screen. But that I actually wouldn't mind like playing it, especially if you can play it as like multiplayer.
Yeah.
So like you can play versus your friends, build your civ up to a certain point, and then you can start warring each other maybe.
I'll tell you this, Johnny. If you guys decide to dive into Humankind, I will play Humankind.
I'll buy it. I'll try it out. Even if it's not like.
Did they give us a date for it? Let's see. Does the Wikipedia? I know 20. Yeah, it just says 2020.
Okay.
So the game is scheduled for release.
No, it looks like there is warring
with Microsoft Windows.
Because there's battles going on. I would guess that if that's the case, they don't have just versus computer, because you can see like a horse of one with like the soldiers got one color uniform runs through a group of another.
Yeah,
and you got from the top of the hill. It's kind of cool because they're not letting like parts of the land, unlike AOE 2 that we play, even the parts of land masses will kind of stop you from moving. Or, it stopped them from moving, but they're still firing from on top of it.
Yeah.
Onto the other group. So it's pretty cool. I'd buy it and play it.
And that's pretty much everything from the Game Awards. Everything that happened, everything we thought. I'm trying to think. Oh!
Wolf Among Us does look cool, though. I didn't get to say that because I never played it, but I did get to see a lot of the trailers and stuff when I was working at Best Buy when the first one came out.
Yep.
It did look really cool.
I love Wolf Among Us. I loved playing Wolf Among Us 1. We're going to make a quick change to the podcast.
Uh-oh, what'd you do?
So the next thing we're getting into is new trailers that we're going to kind of react to, give our thoughts to.
Yes, sir.
James Bond. How married are you to talking about James Bond?
You already know the answer to that.
All right.
I'm not that interested.
I'm going to give my thoughts very quickly
give your
on
thoughts.
it. It looks cool. It looks like they're tying it into the last one. It's going to be a Bond movie. That's kind of what I go into, but I'm
Don't they all
not...
tie in together?
Maybe. Like,
Just a little side note.
like, not the... I don't think they tie in, like, Pierce Brosnan to Daniel Craig, but
Probably.
yes, this one is, I think, the last one for Daniel Craig.
Okay.
It looks cool. It looks like a Bond movie. I'm probably going to go see it and be happy. I'll probably drag Johnny along to it. The reason being is we got to take that out, and I got to put a different trailer in for that one because, well, for the Game Awards, during a commercial break, they had a new trailer for Birds of Prey. So I'm going to put that in later, but we're going to start off DC Wonder Woman 1984. We got a new trailer. Before I ask you what I think is going to go on with the story, what were your immediate thoughts after watching the trailer?
It looks pretty good. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get to see any part of actual Cheetah yet. I kind of want to see what she looks like now.
I like that though.
You do. I just
don't pull it out of the bag early.
Okay.
Let me fucking enjoy that.
How long do we have till it comes out? Again, I don't remember.
Let me see. 1984.
And they hit the 80s on the head.
Oh, the music, the mall. June 5th. June 5th of 2020. So we're about half a year away.
I just want one glimpse of her before we get the actual movie.
So describe what you mean by a glimpse.
Just one scene. I don't need her to see her do much of anything, or just to see what she looks like as
Cheetah.
Is that going to stop us from going to see it? Probably not. But I mean, at least then I know at this point what I'm getting into. I think maybe it's because DC has a 50-50 track record at this moment. They've been doing good with all their other movies thus far.
No. It's not a 50-50. It's a everything after the reboot. And that's another thing. That's why I put the Screen Rant article in for Wonder Woman, because they have a beautiful article about how Wonder Woman 1984 proves the DCEU reboot rumors were greatly exaggerated. Where, yeah, they didn't reboot the whole thing, but let's be honest, they kind of rebooted it. Yeah. Batman's different. Superman's not going to be Henry Cavill. Like, we started off the DCEU now with Shazam. Or technically Wonder Woman, but was Wonder Woman before Justice League?
Did you know she was in Justice League? She was in Batman v Superman.
I would say with me, the soft reboot happened with Shazam, but we loved Wonder Woman so much, we just kept her.
Soft reboot, and you also kept...
Yeah, to much of my chagrin, The Flash. You're talking about Ezra Miller.
No.
Right?
We also kept Aquaman.
Okay, Aquaman was good. Yeah, that was cool. Did Aquaman come out before or after Shazam?
Before.
So it started with Aquaman, then Shazam, now Wonder Woman 1984, Ezra Miller.
Not Wonder Woman, the first one?
Well, that one happened like before Justice League.
Yeah.
So it was like we started it with Aquaman. We kept Wonder Woman just because we liked her. We liked her movie. She was.
Just admit it's not all their movies were great so far.
Oh, they haven't been. But since Aquaman, I think they've been nailing it.
Yeah, they've been doing good since then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Except for Aquaman was after Justice League, right?
See,
okay.
Since
Aquaman,
everything from Justice League and before is called the Dark Ages to me. We pulled Wonder Woman out of the Dark Ages because we liked her from the Dark Ages.
Not everything is left.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of another good movie that I liked from the Dark Ages, and I can't remember it. But yeah, it looks great. With the story that I can't wait to see more with this is, I think it's Mr. Lord or Dr. Lord, Pedro Pascal's character.
Yeah.
His whole villain, his whole thing is supposed to be, and they hit it right on the head. His villain is supposed to, like, your desires, your wants. Like, you can have whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And they're playing in perfectly with that being the 80s, because the 80s was that kind of more greedy kind of a time where it was like glitz and glam and like people really like,
Miami
what do I
Vice.
want? Miami Vice. Perfect example.
You got a very Miami Vice thing going on.
Exactly. And the thing that I wonder is, I know how he gets Cheetah in. Hey, you want this. You want to be. Because they even play around with in the trailer where, have you ever been in love? Oh, no, not really. And then Christian Wiig goes, well, yeah, I have a couple times. So
All the
really,
time.
we're getting a cheetah that doesn't really get what she wants.
She's already kind of jealous of Wonder Woman.
And I feel like whatever the story is, whatever she gets tied in with Lord, that's going to play into her becoming the cheetah.
Yeah.
I know that. Here's the question I want to ask you about this. When it comes to, shoot, I forgot his name. The guy.
Steve Trevor.
Steve Trevor.
Steve
Trevor.
Steve Trevor.
Is he still dead? Because here's the thing. I don't know. And here's the theory that I saw that I'm completely behind if they did it. So if it's all about want, and Lord's supposed to be a telepath, that big kind of satellite that we see in the trailer is kind of like how he broadcasts. I don't know if he works exactly like Professor Xavier, though, over on the Marvel side. And is this him projecting Trevor into Wonder Woman's mind, into the world where it's like, oh, people can interact with him. It's like he's there, but he's not there? Or is it no, he's just in Wonder Woman's head. We just don't know that yet because of how really the only one he's interacted with was her. Like, that's the thing I'm wondering is that going to play into the Wonder Woman part of like what she wants? She wants Trevor back. And that's how he can hit the soft spot to Wonder Woman.
That's what I'm wondering is I wouldn't be opposed to that being a like sort of broadcasting sort of like Charles Xavier sort of can when he's got Cerebro, but minus the Cerebro obviously, but sort of like
well, I mean the satellite is a makeshift.
His telepathy working sort of like Kilgrave / the Purple Man's way of doing it, where
from
it's like
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, where he's got, I think he has a 24-hour gap of like, hey,
he's got to rest.
Well, no, he's got 24 hours of like, as long as I've been around you within 24 hours, you're still mine.
Yeah, okay.
And so that's like he was doing to one of the characters. Side note on Jessica Jones. Spoilers if you haven't seen it yet. Somehow.
Spoilers if you haven't seen it.
Somehow.
I'm trying to think.
Hence why I'm making the sort of snide comment or snide spoilers if you haven't seen it version of what we say, how we say it. Yeah. Anyways, like one of the guys, he has him come back to him every 24 hours. Keeping
just so he can have that contact
plus also he's keeping tabs on Jessica Jones because he's stalking her in the show. But that's the thing, it's like if he gets within contact you within like every 24 hours, you're his. That's how the power worked in there. I don't know in the comics if that's how it worked, but I know it's like within a certain vicinity he can control control you.
You're wondering if it's going to be the same thing with Lord and Wonder Woman.
To a degree, yeah. Well, maybe like as long as he's like within a certain range of her or within like sees her within so many hours.
Another thing that people are throwing out there is that in the trailer, we see a shot of him with like a crystal on his desk. And people are wondering in the movie if that's going to give him his powers. But I can't wait to see what happens with that. It looks phenomenal. I'm so happy. On the Marvel side, I know this happened 2 weeks ago. We couldn't talk about it, though, because we didn't do a podcast last week.
Yes.
Black Widow. Are you in? Because I think we were in before the trailer even dropped.
I'm in. I'm still in.
Like, this was
They just added things that I want to see now, too.
And the thing that I liked most about it was, first off, the thickness of the Russian accents in this is like, I should have been expecting it, but I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And also David Harbour, like his character is going to be my favorite. It still fits.
The retired Red Guardian. That's I think that's a hilarious twist on how they do what they're going for with that.
Is that him fighting Taskmaster?
I'm waiting to get to that part. I'm watching it again right now.
Because when he kind of does the Captain America like fist, and he comes to blows with the guy. Yeah, that's Taskmaster. So that's him fighting Taskmaster.
I'm still at the scene where Black Widow's fighting.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to see how this fits in with their Marvel timeline. Mainly being, I know it comes after Civil War, but how does it? Every movie kind of pushes.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Everything forward.
I'm curious where exactly it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually intrigued on about the full-on white suit for
because it looks like
ScarJo.
Endgame.
It's like, no, it's just complete opposite of what it normally is.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming like, hey, if we're fighting in a snowy atmosphere,
that's true.
I'm not going to wear black. I'm going to wear white.
White would be the color to wear for that type of thing.
That's You're just right. What I assumed. But yeah, it looks beautiful. Didn't give me too much of what the story's about, but gave me enough of what we already knew when it comes to the story of it. Do you have anything else to add on Black Widow?
No, I'm excited to see it because I'm guessing it's obviously between the range of Civil War and Endgame. Mm-hmm. Well, no, technically Infinity War.
Because we don't know who got snapped away from the Russian side.
Yeah, unless it is during... No, because she's running...
It's between Infinity... Because she comes back for Infinity War.
Yeah.
This is before she... This is her...
I'm just actually trying to see what the color of her hair is. If it's got the...
I think it's red.
It's red. I'm trying to see if it's got the little bit of blonde at the end, which I don't think it does.
No.
So.
I think this is before Infinity War, after Civil War.
Yeah, it is.
What about the next one we're going to talk about? What about Ghostbusters?
Hell yeah.
This fucking trailer, Johnny, like, when I saw it, I was like, thank God, this is the Ghostbusters. Because remember when they announced this movie, and I was nervous about it? Mm-hmm. Mainly because of the crap movie that we got in, what was that, 2016?
Something like that.
With, oh God, I can't stand her and Leslie Jones. She's just not funny to me.
Melissa McCarthy was in it.
Melissa McCarthy is usually funny. I can't stand Leslie Jones. It's just her time on SNL. She's just not funny to me. That's it. But I'm not going to harp on that.
I don't find her funny either. So
this movie, this is the one. This is the one we should have gotten in 2016. Not that movie. Also, I think any movie with Paul Rudd in it is just a better movie. Mm-hmm. Like he should be like Kevin Bacon and just be anything and everything. Like, screw the degrees of Kevin Bacon. We got to get a degrees of Paul Rudd going.
Well, that's the funny part. We'll get Paul Rudd in another 200 years worth of movies because he doesn't age.
No, he doesn't age. He's the reverse Benjamin Button. He just finds an age and just stays there.
No, that's not even Benjamin Buttoning. It's just...
Well, Benjamin Buttoning is aging in reverse. He just stops it. He freezes it.
Got to a certain age and just stopped aging. It's like, okay.
It's like, Paul Rudd, if you know where the fountain of youth is, you need to tell me where it is right now. Because as I get older,
you and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves too, man.
The both of you need to share where the hell you found.
I like how I'm going to say that and people are going to be like, well, shut up, Ricky. You got a baby face. You're going to be in the same boat when you're older.
Yeah, lucky you.
Lose a couple pounds, look the same. Maybe get rid of that beard, don't look so old. However, I will say, side note, when I did shave, back when I had that job interview over the summer, everyone freaked out. Everyone freaked out and said I needed my beard immediately. So I have now proven that I can't shave. What do you think of the whole vibe that they're... Do you think that this girl, the girl with the glasses, do you think she's going to be Egon's... Like, are they setting it up where it's... Like, we know that she's Egon's granddaughter.
Yeah, I think she is.
Do we get a Egon tease in it?
Well,
like Force Ghost kind of a thing. Like not necessarily seeing full on Egon, but like
that's what I'm wondering because it's almost like she's being led to this stuff. I wonder if he's maybe going to be,
and it's called Afterlife.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder if he's going to like be the one leading her to this to start bring back up the Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, I see the same drive in you that I had.
Yeah,
little like kind of ghosty thing. Leads her to the one thing.
Paul Rudd being the alive thing, kind of teaching them about the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the science behind these things.
Because, I mean, Egon can't teach her. He's dead.
Yeah, he can just lead her to, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. hey, look at this.
Also, quick aside.
Here's a PKE meter.
Quick aside. When did Finn Wolfhard just become the douchebag character? Where, like, his one line in this, where I get it, it's supposed to be funny, where he goes, hey guys, remember that summer we all died? Like, it happened earlier on in the trailer. I heard that, and, like, in my mind...
Is he Egon's grandson?
I don't know.
That's what it looks like, because they're both in the car together on, like...
So then he would be the grandson, she would be the granddaughter.
Yeah.
But he said that, and my mind triggered back to Stranger Things, and how much of a douche he was in that. Yeah. And I'm like, are we just casting him to be the douchebag character now? Like that douchebag kid that everyone hates? Like, is that his typecast now?
Maybe. As of now, yeah. This past season of Stranger Things, he was kind of a douche. He was a douchebag for a while.
I mean, Hopper didn't exactly handle the situation.
He did handle it well, but still, Mike didn't have to be a douchebag about everything.
Mike was a little prick.
He was being a little prick about things.
But yeah, it's like that line. I get it's supposed to be a joke, but my Stranger Things feelings came out. No, I can't wait for this. The only other question I have for you about this trailer is the ghost that they are chasing when they're driving the Echo around and she's in the gunner seat. Do you think that's Slimer? Is that Slimer or just a random ghost? Because
I want to say random ghost, but it could be Slimer because it's got like
it's got his shape.
Hue. It's got his shape, a little bit of a green hue, but it's mostly gray.
And that's the thing. People are bringing up the color of like, well, but it's gray. And then there's other people like, yeah, but the CGI might not be totally done yet. And then
that's true too.
And then there's other people that are like, no, it's not Slimer. He's gray. And like nobody knows.
It could just be Grimer. Goddamn, Slimer. Moving at like a really quick pace.
We need Slimer. If Slimer's not in this,
that'd be great if we got Slimer.
If he's not in this, I'm just gonna be a little bit sad because Slimer needs to be in this. he's quintessential to the Ghostbusters.
He'd be the cool like final tie-in to everything, where you got like, hey, this is Egon, right?
Egon, yep.
Egon's granddaughter and his grandson, and they make a team as well. It'd be great if he leads them. Like, it's his ghost that leads them to become the new Ghostbusters. Yeah. And then Slimer would just be the final tie-in. Because
I'm getting this from Greg Miller. Kind of funny. Shout out to Greg. He's a huge Ghostbusters fan. Like, I compare it to, Pete, who's been on podcasts here before, Pete Creighton. It is like Pete's level of fandom for Ghostbusters. And what he mentioned was, he goes, I don't know if this is Greg now. He mentioned on his YouTube channel basically that what he thinks could happen, but they might not, is the whole Force Ghost thing, but you don't fully see Egon. It's one of those by the kids defeating the villain and securing all the afterlife. Then Egon can go and rest in peace. Okay. And it's like you don't actually see his face. You just see like maybe him from the back or like his leg or something walking into like basically, okay, I can rest at peace and I'm now fully going over into the afterlife.
Sort of a silhouette per se of
kind
him
of, yeah.
Walking into the afterlife.
Yeah, because we know that he's dead. That's why they're clearing out his house. The only thing that is confusing people is the first uniform she pulls is Spangler. And people are like, well, are they then Spangler's kids? Is it Egon's grandkids? And the thing that I'm thinking is just like, there's some people that say, oh, well, maybe it's Spangler's farmhouse that he gave to, because in one of the movies he mentions a farmhouse.
Maybe he gave it to
Egon. Exactly. Who knows? But all the uniforms look like they're there. The next one I want to jump to, we're going to jump around a bit. Yeah. Mulan. I got a few thoughts on this. My first one that I want to hit, I'm going to tackle it right away, Johnny. And I'm not pulling my punches. Why do these Disney remakes feel like, I get it, they're in a catch-22. They don't want to do the exact same movie because then they feel like like as a director, you feel like there's no artistic freedom. It's like I'm following a blueprint, but I am making it
a blueprint.
But I am making it into a live action. I get the other side though, where it's like I want to change something so that it's just not the exact same thing. I would say the only 2 movies that did this successfully are The Jungle Book and Aladdin. The rest of them are like, was Beauty and the Beast good? Yes. But thinking back, did it do anything different? No. It was just, it gave me an extra song. I'm trying to think. Dumbo, I absolutely...
Yeah, you did not like Dumbo.
I got into an argument with a first grader about that movie, by the way, this week. The levels of low you get to when you get into an argument with a first grader
Jesus Christ, Ricky,
about
come
the
on.
Dumbo, because they're like, I like the Dumbo movie, and it just triggered me.
Well, you're wrong.
Like, basically, I was like the old teacher that's like, you're wrong. I'm like, have you seen the original? Have you seen the cartoon? She's like, no. I'm like, watch the cartoon.
What are you, stupid or something?
And then tell me what you think. And then the one kid, this other kid in my class, he goes, they didn't even have the mouse in it. I would go, she didn't even have the mouse in it. Like, making my points for me. I was very heated with a first grader about Dumbo. That is how low my life.
You don't bring that up in front of her.
Ricky needs a girlfriend. That's what that means.
You don't bring that up in front of me.
But the thing that is rubbing me the wrong way from this trailer is, did he need a sidekick? Did the villain need a sidekick? Did he? The whole witch thing, like, oh, he calls himself this and he's got a witch. It's like, did he need that? Unless here's what I'm thinking. The hawk is not a hawk. It's her that she can turn into a hawk. Because in the trailer, we see her turn into the hawk.
Then, yeah, I would say that's...
But, like, I don't know. I don't like making it a, like, 2-person team.
I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is the omission of all the songs.
Yeah, that's a big bad one too. Even though they gave us Reflection in the
They gave
trailer.
us. I like the back. I do have to admit, I like the background sound of
Reflection.
Yeah. But I don't like the fact that you just omitted all songs. Because does it look like a great movie on its own? Yes. Is it Mulan? Not really. Just like some sub point, the general, very general plot is the same sort of. It looks like a great like Western style kung fu movie, but it kind of deviates very much so from Mulan.
Yeah, and
Like more so than I would like myself. Would like myself.
the scene of her even going up against the witch, and the witch goes like, basically, wait until they find out who you are. It's like, that's not how it's supposed to happen, though. And I get that maybe I'm sitting there going, and I'm too married to the original, but like, I don't know. I felt like, is it Khan? I'm thinking of the name. I'm bad with fucking names today. Let me pull it up really quick.
The villain's name?
Yes, the villain. Because it's not Shang.
It's Shen Yu. Was that it?
No, I've got it here. Let's see. No, Shang was the general. Let's see. Shan Yu. Is that what you said?
Shen Yu.
Shen Yu.
I thought.
Did we have to make him like he was one of the best villains? Like if we did a top villains list, yeah, Shan Yu. If we did a top villains list, he would be in my top 5. He was terrifying as a kid.
He was.
On his own. And I feel like here's the thing I wonder is I wonder if they're doing the whole witch thing because is she going to be the voice? Because remember back to the original Mulan, he didn't really talk.
He barely talked.
The
He
only
said, like,
things I remember him saying
4 lines maybe.
something at the end, but the one I really remember is at the beginning, the guy goes, now all of China will know you're coming. And he goes, good. welcome, or like something like good, tell the emperor I'm here, like very short, very sweet. And then he says some stuff at the end, but usually his was I'm big and menacing and I'm going to do it all at my face. And I'm wondering and I'm worried that by having this witch character be the mouthpiece for him, it's not going to be the Shang Yu that was so terrifying.
So maybe here's my thought about it. Maybe the fact that
nonverbal isn't bad. Like that's what they got to realize.
Maybe they're trying to make him that much more menacing by making him nonverbal. Because are you really going to find someone that's going to like literally be huge and intimidating like Shen Yu was?
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to make up for it, for one. Two, giving him like these the witch sidekick to kind of give ungodly powers almost. Because like, or maybe that's just the style they're going. The crouching tiger up the wall.
Yeah, I was watching that scene where they jump off the horses
and run up
the wall. I mean, we still have to watch it. Like it can prove me wrong, but
I'm gonna see it. So
I'm not a huge fan of the whole 2 villain thing instead of a 1 villain thing. The no music is insane to me. I hope they're just playing with us too.
Yeah.
By not having Mushu in this, and we end up getting a Mushu because Mushu needs to be in a Mulan movie. We can't have a Mulan movie without Mushu.
I'll be honest. I'd be glad if like the thing we get at least is we get the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're toying with us, saying, "Oh yeah, there's no music in it."
Here's a question I want to ask you, kind of here at the end is. Do you think that we get to a point where we get kind of fatigued with these reboots where it's like, you know what? The creative freedom is too much to where it's like people go, like the Disney fans will go, but when does the nostalgia run off? That's what I'm kind of going with. Because I feel like most of us are going to these movies because of the nostalgia factor. When does that run off and we just go, they're not that great of movies?
I feel like this will be the one where Disney decides to go the direction of, do we just tell the director, basically make the other movie? Mm-hmm. Or are they actually like, hey, you can have all these artistic liberties. It depends on how well it does.
I would say use Aladdin as the blueprint. Did they change the story? Yes.
I'm not saying
was different.
I'm not saying to use this as the blueprint. I'm saying this will be the one where it goes, which way do you go? Yeah.
And I'm saying use Aladdin as the blueprint. Where was it exactly the same as the original? No. We had the genie hitting on a handmaid way too much. You also had a more woke version of Jasmine was woke in the original one. We just dialed that up to 11 in this one. Where they changed that stuff, but it didn't take away from the original Aladdin. The original Aladdin story was there. Jungle Book, same thing. I feel like the original story was there. They just added on to it, especially with the Shere Khan parts.
Yeah.
With Idris Elba.
Shere Khan was terrifying in this one.
Beauty and the Beast was the same exact movie, just with an extra song in the middle, that Everlong song, I think it's called.
From the one that's from the play.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think of other ones that we have seen. Dumbo was hot garbage. They changed the entire movie.
Yeah.
Did they have key parts like him at the cabin with the mama elephant? Yeah, but it wasn't the same movie.
At least they kept the songs. That's the thing.
Yeah, but it still wasn't the same movie.
No, it wasn't. You're right. By adding the whole
basically Disney comes and steals Dumbo away.
Yeah. The Michael Keaton part, honestly.
With me, I wonder what these reboots, eventually, when is enough going to be enough? And the only way we're going to speak is with our wallets, but enough people will go because of nostalgia. Mm-hmm. But let's move on. We got a couple things to get to, and Sam's going to be calling in a bit. Birds of Prey, just got some more cool things. Game Awards. They released a trailer for it. Harley looks awesome. Harley's going to be great. We got now some more footage of her with a bag of dog food for the hyenas. We get kind of more action with the other people, the Huntress, Canary. We get a better look at Victor Zsasz, where he actually has a knife pointed at Harley. I think this is another DC one where it's like, I'm excited for it. It looks good. It looks like a good movie. I just hope I'm not kind of destroyed by it. Last two. The first one is CW Stargirl. It's not long. It's a minute-long trailer.
Yeah. Looks interesting.
It's interesting, but for me, I wonder... Originally, I was promised a DC Universe series.
Yeah.
Or DCU series. And now it's on the CW.
So
my biggest wonder is this going to be like all the other CW shows? Or is this going to be like, hey, it's going to be like that DCU series that we are creating, but we just put it on the CW?
It looks like another CW show.
Exactly.
It looks like
and
the
that's,
Flash,
and that's my worry.
Arrow. It looks like it so far.
Yeah.
But obviously, I have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm. I mean, does it look cool? Yeah. Will I watch the first one? Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see if it draws me in. Because those CW shows, I fell off super hard on all of them. Except for kind of watching the clip, the big hits with Crisis on Infinite Earths. Then we've got the last one, Free Guy. We're seeing this, Johnny. I don't care what you said. And I love how at the beginning, from the studio that brought you Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, and I'm like, man, Ryan Reynolds, this is you really playing into that Fox Disney deal. Basically, it's like, imagine if you were born in a video game and you're an NPC.
Mm-hmm.
What's your life like? You're not the player, you're the NPC, and then you become the player. Like, what would your life be
You're
like?
an NPC that decides enough is enough.
I think it's a great premise for a game. Because even like Funch's character, who's the security guard at the bank.
Yeah.
When Ryan Reynolds says this is enough, he goes, hey, this ain't you. This ain't you. Basically, like, this is not how you act. And then Ryan Reynolds punches him through the wall, basically, and kills him.
No, he shotguns him in the chest.
Oh, that's right. Shotguns him and then takes the glasses. I fast forward a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. It looks like it's going to be a better, like, is it a better version of Ready Player One?
Yeah. Already looks like it.
Because Ready Player One was good. I liked it. But
it was.
It's
but
a
it
Ryan
looks like
Reynolds
a better version
funny movie that is just going to be, it's going to be great. I can't wait for it. So, Johnny, here's what we are going to do.
Taika Waititi's in it.
Oh, he's the villain, right?
I don't know who he is.
Okay. I remember seeing him in the trailer.
I just remember I'm watching it again,
I
but without
closed
sound,
it before
obviously.
I got to the very end. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take, not a break, but there will be a jump cut. We're going to welcome Sam onto the podcast to talk some Godzilla versus Kong. I'm a little upset that we didn't get to the J.J. Abrams story that I wanted. What I am going to do then is here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that. We're going to bookmark it. I'm going to put, this is required reading on the podcast. Ready? This is the first time we ever had this. There's an article by Rogue Rocket that I want you to read. It's in the description. It's long, but it's got all the facts about what's going on. We're going to retrospectively look at this next week when we review Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker. So we're going to kind of say, hey, we'll wait until the movie, then we'll go ahead and talk about it. But let's go ahead. Let us know what you guys think down below, and let's get to Sam. And there we go. Jump cut achieved, Johnny. It's a quick jump cut, and then we are welcoming on Sam into the podcast. Sam, if people want to be like you, they can go to patreon.com/mostfoulpodcast, support the channel, and come on podcasts like you. But I have a special question before we get into everything. How are you doing today? Because this is the first time I have talked to you on a morning podcast recording. Usually it's like either Saturday during the day or a Friday night. How you doing on a Sunday morning calling in to record the podcast?
This is the only day of the week I can freaking relax, given I have to work like 70 hours in a given week, so this is the one day of actual rest, like the Lord up in the Bible, of course. But yeah, it's just nice to be lounging for once.
Well, hey, I mean, I love lazy days. Lazy days are my favorite days of the entire week. And usually, like yourself, mine usually comes on a Sunday as well after I record the podcast with Johnny because of work and everything going on. But Sam's calling in today because wants to talk about Godzilla versus Kong in the legendary monster universe going on. We were supposed to get it, I believe it was March of 2020. Now it's been pushed back all the way until November 20th of 2020. And looking into it, it's Legendary Pictures as a production company. I was actually wrong. It's not Universal. It's Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I was trying to find that earlier too. So.
This is distributed by. So it's not exactly. It's the WB Legendary Monster Universe. I didn't want to confuse it with if it was Universal's
monsters that kind of died out after
and they
the
called
Mummy.
it, I think, Dark Universe is what
it was
they called it.
You're right. It was the dark. It was Universal's Dark Universe.
Yeah, which is dead. Because we got the Mummy, and that was it.
The Mummy did terrible in box office.
They had so many plans for that, and it just didn't happen. But Sam, the question I'll ask you is the question that you wanted to propose for this is based off of this movie getting pushed back. Should we be worried for the state of the legendary monster universe with Godzilla versus Kong being pushed back to November, almost a year from where we sit right now?
I would say heavily yes, because originally it's like, okay, they released the first Godzilla movie back in 2014. That was sort of the test run to see if there was a kaiju, interest in general with the general public.
Mm-hmm.
It made a reasonable amount of money for, being the first entry, and it attracted enough attention. So they're like, okay, there's enough interest in this movie. Let's do a couple more and make a little series here. So that's how we got, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and now the delayed Godzilla versus Kong.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, with me, the whole thing, I remember the 2014 movie. That was one where I didn't see that movie. That was one where I was like, I was kind of burnt out because for me, the last Godzilla movie that I remember was that
2004, I believe
was it that?
2001, something like that.
The one with the Godzilla with the green eye, and the main thing I remember is the Taco Bell ads for it with the little Chihuahua here, lizard.
It got me to go to Taco Bell more.
It did get me to go to Taco, which probably could explain this, but I mean.
I'm trying to
back
find
then,
it.
that's why I didn't see that one. Then it's like, okay, people really like this. Johnny and I decided to check out Kong Skull Island, and I really liked Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good movie. And then that led into King of the Monsters. For me, I almost relate it to the Dark Universe that we brought up, because that was one, too, where they got a little bit too ambitious, and with them, it didn't even get going at all. Where in this case, it is going, because this would be the fourth movie in the installment in the series. But the whole thing that I'm wondering is, are they pumping it back because they don't want to? Are they pumping it back because they don't want to run out of things? Or is it hey, this movie isn't up to our standards. We don't want to put this movie out unless it's a great movie and we feel proud of the product.
See, that's what I think it is more so than anything. Mm-hmm. I'd rather have them take their time, get the movie done, get it done right. Because, they don't have, for example, the MCU, the DCEU, the amount of stuff to go off of. They have the old Toho films, at least as a... how do I put it? As a blueprint to go off of? Because obviously the Marvel films don't follow it verbatim. Same with the DC films. They don't follow it verbatim. They really just have the Toho films, and I don't know if there's any comic books after that came out with Godzilla and any of that, but it's a lot more like free flowing. Like apparently we had our Star Wars discussion, so that someone thinks that there's not a lot to go off of.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Sam, what do you think to that point? Do you think that maybe it's just do you think it's maybe just the movie's not done yet, and should we be worried if the movie's not done yet?
I think it's like, on one hand, it's like they were troubled by the overall return of King of the Monsters, but on the secondary thing, it's like, I think that sort of just made an impression that they're going to be doing like significant amounts of reshoots, so that it seems to be more, I guess, general audience appeal, because what is it, Johnny? Like, would you say like King of the Monsters was essentially like a fan love letter from the director to Kaiju fans? Basically.
I'm trying to think. I know it seemed like a lot of it was kind of getting us diving farther into this universe now, because we had Godzilla, we had just in another like single movie with King Kong, kind of start to tie together that, hey, these monsters can actually start like they actually can interact, where it's like, hey, we finally got like some of the bigger names too, besides just like, Godzilla, King Kong,
like
Mothra, King Ghidorah, Rodan. We got some bigger names now finally in there, so showing that, hey, yeah, with more of these monsters that Toho has had before are also in this universe. It's not just Godzilla. It's not just King Kong. There are a lot of them out there.
And I mean, just to go off of the box office thing really quick, the last movie did make money. It's not like they lost money. Godzilla in 2014.
Yeah, I was actually looking that up.
There was a huge return with that Godzilla movie, because the movie only costed $160 million. They made about $525 million. So they made almost 4 to 5 times as much as they spent. Then Kong Skull Island, yet again, similar thing, $185 million to make the movie. They made almost $567 million. So yet again, you're getting that pretty hefty return on that investment.
Godzilla King of Monsters made almost a little over double what it cost.
A little bit, yeah. It was,
so it wasn't like the best. So maybe that's why they're taking their time with this next one. It's like, okay, we only made about double our return, or double what we only made back. No, my brain's not working right.
So
we made double of what it cost to make it. So we kind of want to put out a better film, make sure we're hopefully going to get more than that back.
And Sam, let me ask you this then. Do you think that the studio is then sitting there going, okay, are we overloading these movies? Because the thing in common between, or the difference, I should say, between these movies is that Godzilla in 2014, and then we got Kong Skull Island in 2017. 3-year gap in between them. Only a 2-year gap in between? I mean, it's 2 years, not 3 years. It's close to 3 years, but only a 2-year gap in between Godzilla and Kong Skull Island. And I feel like King of the Monsters. King of the Monsters and Kong Skull Island. I feel like King of the Monsters was marketed a lot more. Like, I saw a lot more commercials than I did for the first Godzilla.
Yeah.
Do you think there may be also going with that of like, hey, maybe if we can't space it out too far, because we already said the movie's coming out and we made it, but is this their way to say, hey, let's space it out? Maybe that's kind of the problem with the box office return not being as great as it was for Kong or Godzilla. What are your thoughts on that one, Sam?
I think another thing which really helps out the first two especially was the perfect time of the year that they basically figured out to release it, because they were basically able to eliminate almost any major movie competition within a month's radius of the initial release. So that's why they were able to get a pretty sizable return to like at least the first 2 weekends from my initial like when I saw like the box office returns when they were actually released a couple years ago. I think that's like especially a significant reason why there's some feelings of underwhelming returns as far as King of the Monsters, because what was it? I think it actually got pushed back from like, what was it? It actually got pushed further originally from its original release date, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the other thing, because I think just doing it like, the first week of June was not the best of things, because I think it just sort of got lost in the tsunami of like, summer blockbuster movies.
So I'm pulling up right now. I don't mean to cut you off, Sam. But King of the Monsters. So here's where some of the movies it came out with. Rocket Man, Ma, The Fall of the American Empire, Always Be My Maybe. Those are kind of ones that wouldn't compete with it. Yeah, the big ones were King of the Monsters came out along with Rocket Man and Ma, were its two big ones. Where Ma was that big, I say big, but like it was that interesting horror movie that came out with the lady that, hey, you guys can party here in my basement, and then you got to call me Ma. And then Rocket Man was big. People, if probably having to choose, hey, let's go see Rocket Man instead of Godzilla. Whereas the other ones, let's see, the March 2017, let's see, they came out March 10th. Yeah, Kong Skull Island came out with like Burning Sands, Raw, The Beautiful Fantastic, like, yeah, that March 10th window, like Kong was the marquee movie that came out, and even
not a hard competition, but Endgame was also still in theaters.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that it was competing, but
like you're talking about with
King of Monsters. Yeah,
good point. Whereas the other one, like with Godzilla, also didn't have that. So it's like, did Endgame affect it too?
Yeah, because I mean, that one stayed in theaters for probably a good a month and a half at least.
Yeah, because not everyone saw it.
Not that was a huge competition for it, because a lot of people had seen it by then. That was all like about a month in.
Yeah,
actually over a month in. But still, that was still in theaters. People were still going to see it. It was still making money.
But no, Sam, you bring up a good point. Like, King of the Monsters, even with Rocket Man and Ma, had more of a competition than we did back when Kong Skull Island and the first Godzilla came out. I'm actually gonna look up, because we know the exact date for it is November 20th. I'm gonna ask you, Sam, what you think of the lineup when it comes out. I'm going to read off some of the films that come out that same date, and we're going to kind of predict what we think will happen. So according to comingsoon.net, and here's the interesting thing, we don't have any exact, like, for sure plans with these. A lot of them are just interesting. Right now, what we've got is Godzilla vs. Kong for sure, King Richard, which I'm assuming is like a King Arthur style movie, but could be anything. King Richard, an untitled ambient movie, an untitled WB event film, and then possibly Escape Room 2, maybe the 30th, maybe the 20th. So far, I think that looks like a good weekend for Godzilla versus Kong. What do you think, Sam? Does that sound like to you, like, okay, it can have more success than it did the last time with King of the Monsters?
I think as far as the initial ground of the first weekend, yes. But the main thing is, if there are any other more significant potential movie openings, like in the first 2 weeks of December, then I think it's going to be in trouble still, regardless.
Yeah, because... Go ahead.
No, because the thing I think with the Godzilla series in general is kaiju movies, it's sort of like, it's like a specific fan base in particular. So it's like, I think, for example, I think with Kong Skull Island being released on March 10th, it being the only marquee matchup movie of that month, it allows a more general audience members to oh, this is the only thing which actually looks interesting compared to all the other titles in the theater, so I'm willing to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, I feel like the way they pushed off King of the Monsters with the June opening is that sort of created this perception. It's like this cheesy blockbuster type of movie, which sort of turns off some people. So that's why they would be more gravitating toward going see something with allegedly more substance, like Maul or Rocket Man.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of the thing.
Yeah, I would feel like for the most part, the kaiju-based movies are a little bit more of a specific fan base. Obviously, you're still going to get people that are in the action movie that are going to want to see it. Anyone that's in the nerdy realm, sci-fi side of things are still going to want to see it too. And then you got your original Toho Godzilla fans, King Kong fans, going to want to go and see King of Monsters, going to want to go and see Kong versus Godzilla. Or anyone who's just hey, I saw Godzilla, King Kong was cool too. Then they went and saw that, and they're just kind of a casual that kind of caught on and followed through. What helped, I was looking it up too, what helped with probably them getting okay, we're going to test the waters with Godzilla was the fact that just a year before Pacific Rim came out, and that's probably a water tester of, I don't know who put that one out, honestly. I don't remember who.
Oh, that was shit.
What studio? But that was a nice water tester, especially if it wasn't them saying, "Okay, should we put a kaiju movie out?"
No, I don't think it was that. I don't think it was WB.
Pacific
It was.
Rim.
Oh no, you're right. Legendary Pictures. So the
it?
production company is the same.
But is the studio the same?
Let's see. So the production company is the same on both Legendary. Oh, that was Universal.
It was Universal.
That was Universal.
Okay, so
and that one only made about double its money, 150 to 290.9. The other thing I'm looking up is so that DC event movie is not going to be a main DC movie.
Okay.
Because you got Birds of Prey in February of 2020, Wonder Woman in June of 2020. The Batman's not until 2021. The only other things I can think of is, first off, I'll ask this. Does the Eternals play in it all? Because the Eternals is November 6th. That would leave the first weekend of Eternals, 1 week off, and then Godzilla vs. Kong. Is the Eternals even that big of a Marvel movie to affect Godzilla vs. Kong? Sam, I'll go to you first. What do you think on that?
I think with the Eternals, that's sort of like when Guardians of the Galaxy was originally released. It's a very fringe, character set from the comics. Mm-hmm. So this would be the first major cinematic representation of them into a general audience base. So I would say it's going to be a 50-50 thing if it's going to be well received or if it's going to be more of a meh response from the general audience. Because the other thing I view it as, after the enormity conclusion of the Infinity Saga with Endgame, I think people in general are sort of needing maybe a little bit of a respite from, experiencing, Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. Even though they're introducing, totally new characters with the new slots that are upcoming.
Yeah, and I mean, the Marvel side, too, is they're not going to have they've got Eternals in November 6th of 2020, and the next Marvel film you're not getting one in December. You have to wait all the way till February. So, I mean, maybe you did hit a good point, Sam, of, and I didn't even think of it, of like, this is just the time of like, hey, who would we have competed with before?
Yeah.
Because let me see, do they have in this article where the date was? So they pushed it back, has been delayed 8 months. So it was previously supposed to come out on March 13th. I'm quickly going to see, before we kind of end this, what it would have competed against.
I'm going to say, yeah, I agree, though. To the point of, like, if it's received like Guardians of the Galaxy, then, yeah, it might pose a problem depending on... Like I say, if it's received like the first Guardians of the Galaxy, hey, it's not like well, I'll put in quotes, A-rated characters to pick from, because how many casuals really know about the Eternals? Hell, you and I don't know about you, Sam, but Ricky and I don't really know about the Eternals.
Yeah, I didn't.
I don't know how much you get into Marvel
gonna do
comics, so. But I mean, if it's received like the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, it might pose a problem. If it's just like it's okay, it might not be that much of a problem for Godzilla versus King Kong.
It also makes sense now looking at March why they moved, because the week before the 13th is Onward, which is that Pixar movie with Tom Holland and Chris Pratt.
Okay, yeah.
About like it's the fairy tale land and they've got to find their father or something. Then March 13th, I don't know if this stays, but it says Untitled Fox Marvel Film 3.
Ooh.
So is that a Fox Marvel property? Is that is that a Deadpool? Is that going to be like where we get New Mutants finally?
Maybe.
I don't know. And it also says Gambit, which I don't know if that movie's still in development.
I don't think it is. I didn't think it was.
2 weeks, I don't know how much this played into effect. 2 weeks after the 13th of March, guess what comes out? Mulan.
Oh.
So maybe it's like, I don't know if after 2 weeks what the return would be.
Not a lot, but it would hit their tail end returns.
Exactly. Where it's like, okay, then we would have to really hit on the 13th and the 20th. Oh, that's another thing. A Quiet Place Part 2 comes out on the week after. That's a horror film, I think.
Yeah, we saw A Quiet Place.
Yeah. So, I mean...
I just didn't know there was Part 2 coming out already.
Plus, you got I Still Believe, which looks like it's more in the vein of... I look at the poster of it, and it looks like a... Oh, what fucking movie was that called? The Fault in Our Stars. It looks like one of those. It looks like one of those kind of movies.
So
where
a specific type of
I don't know if those
group genre.
And I don't want to typecast here, but I don't know if the high school girls that are going to see I Still Believe are going to go see the kaiju movies of Godzilla versus Kong.
You got that one friend in the group
know.
that wants to see that.
Exactly. But Sam, any final thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this one up?
I'm gonna say the long-term future of the monster universe is going to be dependent upon the success or failure of this next movie, because they have nothing currently planned as of right now. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's going to be bittersweet if this ends up becoming the last chapter of this movie. But if it does, like, I do enjoy it as a kaiju fan. Like, this is the type of freaking movies I've been wanting to see my whole lifetime with those type of budgets. So if it does come to a sad end after that one, I'm at peace. But I'm really hopeful more people will give it a chance and it does become a bigger success, so we could have future titles to enjoy down the line.
No, I'm the same way. I've always felt like the Godzilla. Yeah, I always feel like the Godzilla movies. Again, I make the English language bend to my will, Johnny.
Ricky is fieldings.
I'm like Thanos with that Infinity Gauntlet, just snapping the English language away. But I've always felt like the Godzilla movies, it's like, is it so niche to where like it's harder to get out into the casuals than like a Marvel? Because like that's what a Marvel did. Marvel, I didn't mention this earlier when it was brought up. I can't remember if Johnny or you, Sam, brought it up. But the fact of like making it relatable to a casual. And it's like, I felt like I'm not super into King Kong. I would say I was a casual for that movie, and I fucking liked it. So if they were continue to do that, then I think they can have success because these monster movies are cool. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that are really into these kaiju monster movies. But that's going to do it for the Rick and Johnny podcast this week. If you want to be like Sam and be a patron, make sure to check out patreon.com/mostvalid-podcast. Even if you want to be like Sam and you're like, I don't know if I want to be as brave as Sam and come on a podcast, but you still want to ask us a question and suggest a topic, we have a tier for that as well down below. Want to thank Sam for calling in. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, as of January 1st, so our first podcast of 2020, Johnny, fuck it, we're doing it live. We'll be live on Twitch from there on out to the infinite future. Twitch.tv/mostvalid-podcast, where you'll be able to check those live shows out. Want to thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Want to thank you guys for listening on podcast services around the world. And as always, have a good day, everybody.